Hi, this is the second of two videos on pronouns. Hi, it's Jacob again. Again, what I do is I make these little videos about Samoan grammar. Hopefully, someone finds them useful if they're trying to learn Samoan, whether speaking to friends or family, or if you want to make a visit there. So again, this next installment is the second of two videos about Samoan pronouns. I already did a prior video about what's called emphatic pronouns. This will be about descriptive pronouns, and so I'll kind of go into that overview again. I won't spend too much time on it because you can go back to the previous video and kind of get a more detailed explanation. As I mentioned in the previous video, really there's two types of pronouns in Samoan. There's emphatic and descriptive. I went over emphatic first because those follow the same sentence structure of a prior video, so a very simple, straightforward sentence structure. Descriptive pronouns are really the pronouns that are used most often, at least when you're using pronouns as the subject of a sentence. So they really are much more common. They differ in a few different ways from emphatic pronouns in the sense that, again, they're descriptive. They really are just trying to describe an event or a story. They're not trying to place a specific emphasis on the subject. They always precede the verb, which is different than emphatic pronouns and any other noun in a sentence. And they're only for the subject of a sentence. You can't use these pronouns to be an object of a sentence. So that being said, this is a very similar grid to what you may have seen in the prior video of emphatic pronouns. Generally speaking, Samoan pronouns, they're just more, they're more detailed than English pronouns. We still have first, second, and third person cases like we do in English. And really what first, second, third person translates to, it's I as a first person pronoun. It's involving the person speaking. You is a second person pronoun because it involves a person being spoken to. And they or he or she or it is a third person pronoun because it's about someone who's not part of the conversation. So in Samoan, we still have those same cases, but we have more detail in terms of differentiating how many people we're talking about. So there's singular, dual, and plural, whereas in English, we have singular and plural, and sometimes we actually don't necessarily differentiate so much there. And then we also have this concept of inclusive and exclusive. Really what that means, it only applies to the first person pronouns, but one class of those pronouns, the inclusive, includes the person being spoken to, and the exclusive pronouns exclude the person being spoken to. This is the difference between saying, in English, this is the same word, it's we, but in English, if you're talking about coming back from work and you're talking to your significant other, and you say, "Hey, me and a buddy at work, we did this, we did that." You're not talking about your wife in that case. You're talking about you and someone at work. Whereas if you're talking to your wife later, "Hey, why don't we go to the store together?" Your wife who you're talking to is included in that. So that's the difference between inclusive and exclusive. I'll give some examples, obviously, as we go forward. The other thing and what I'll do as I do in other videos, I'll demonstrate the pronunciation, and I'll try and do that pretty quickly. And then we'll go into some practice in the next slide. So I'll go across the top first, starting with first person inclusive. Let me see if that highlighter will show up. So first person inclusive, going across the top, singular is o, and in English that's really just I. For dual it's ta, and plural it's tato, tato. First person exclusive, really for singular it's just o again because there's no differentiating between inclusive and exclusive in the singular form. Dual it's ma, and plural mato. So the same as before, but just switching out the T's for M's. Second person, singular is e, dual is lua, and plural is to. If you did watch the prior video for emphatic pronouns, these look very familiar because in many ways they're just a short form of that pronoun. So hopefully they look familiar. Third person, it's na, and I'm going to go ahead and put ia because I feel colloquially sometimes it is used in this case, but at least in a writing and proper sort of written Samoan, the descriptive pronoun for a third person, he, she, it, is na. Dual is la, plural is lato. So again, you're swapping out the T or the M for an L. So an example here on the sentence structures, there's really one sentence structure for these descriptive pronouns, but it does flip slightly if you're using the ate tense or the ate tense. So for example, if you go down to that first line in the blue table, if we want to say I know, you start with the pronoun that you want to use, followed by te, which is indicating the tense of the sentence, followed by the verb. So you would say o te iloa. O te iloa. For every other tense, it follows first, the formula is to say the tense marker first, then the pronoun, then the verb. So for example, we laughed or we smiled, and you're speaking about just the two of you and not talking about the person being spoken to, you would say sa ma ata, sa ma ata. Again, sa being the tense marker, ma being the pronoun, ata. So it's really just that ate tense where we have that alternative sentence structure where we flip the tense marker on the pronoun. Otherwise, it's tense marker, pronoun, verb. So just like I did in the prior video, it's good to practice. These are actually the same sentences that I had in the prior video where I asked you to translate these sentences into Samoan using the emphatic pronouns. Now I'm asking for the same sentences to be translated, but just using the descriptive pronoun. So just like I had in the prior video, I'll kind of go through one by one. The idea is pause the video, write down what this is in Samoan, just to check to see if you got it right. And again, you don't have to use the verbs that I have up here. If you've got other words that you want to plug in there, they absolutely can go in, and that's great. So I'll kind of go through one by one, but just to kind of orient you if you hadn't seen the prior video, on the right-hand side of the screen, I've got the verbs, I've got tense markers up at the top, and then I've got the practice sentences down in the bottom left. So first one being, I speak Samoan. In Samoan, using descriptive pronouns, that would be Ote tautala fa'a Samoa. O is the pronoun for I. Tautala is speak, and because of how we're, the tense of the sentence is present continuous, because we're describing an attribute of a person. So we're using the ate tense. So Ote tautala fa'a Samoa. I speak Samoan. Next sentence, they are sleeping, and we're talking about plural when we say they, so three or more people. In Samoan, that would be olo'o lato momoe, olo'o lato momoe. You'll notice that I use the plural version of the verb moe. In Samoan, many verbs can be pluralized by saying the second to last syllable twice. So that's why moe turns to momoe. You'll see another example of that later. So olo'o lato momoe. Olo'o because it's a present progressive tense. That's in English, that's an ing verb. And then lato being the descriptive pronoun, momoe being the verb. Next one down, they cried. And we're talking about two people when we say they in this case. That translates to sa la tatangi, sa la tatangi. Again, tense marker, pronoun, verb, and I am using the plural version of that verb tangi. So tatangi is what the plural version is. Next in line, we are happy, and this time we're going to be using an exclusive pronoun, and it's going to be the plural form of that. So in Samoan, that translates to mato te fiafia, mato te fiafia. So again, pronoun, because it's the ate tense, we're using the pronoun first, followed by te, and then the verb fiafia. Next sentence down, we will sit, and this we're using the inclusive pronoun, plural form as well, which translates to olea tatou nonofo, olea tatou nonofo. Olea is the tense marker for the future. Tatou is the pronoun for us or we, inclusive of the person being spoken to. And then nonofo is the plural form of the verb nofo, nonofo. Next sentence down, have you become angry? Using the singular pronoun for you, which translates to Wa'e'ita, wa'e'ita. So again, I'm using the Samoan intonation for the question, We'ita. And I'm using the present perfective tense, which is ua, because it's something that happened in the past, but the effects are still being present. You got angry sometime in the past, but you're still angry right now. We'ita. Next sentence down. We will walk. Exclusive dual pronoun, which translates to Oleama savarivali. Well, actually, I said that wrong. It should be Oleama savali. So I'm using the plural version of savali, which is to walk. Savarivali is another way of saying that same verb. Olea is the tense marker for the future, and ma is the pronoun for me and another person that I'm referring to. That's kind of like the my buddy at work example. Next thing, sentence, he smiles, singular. So nate ata, nate ata. Again, this is the te tense, so it's a little bit odd, but we're using the pronoun first, then the tense marker, then the verb. Nate ata. And then finally, our last sentence is they have come, plural. When we talk about they, we're talking about 3 or more people, which translates to ualato o mai, ualato o mai. So we're using the present perfective tense again with ua, because it's something that has occurred in the past, but the effects are still presently being felt. Lato is the descriptive pronoun for they, 3 or more. O mai is the plural form of the verb to come in Samoan. So again, I hope these things are helpful. My intention is that if I put enough of these videos together, they'll cover the basic concepts of Samoan grammar. You can plug in all the gaps with vocab that makes sense to you. So whether it's from a Samoan English dictionary, and I've got links below in the description, or if it's from just talking with friends or using Google Translate. But the idea is that you'll then have the building blocks to be able to say what you want to say. And then hopefully it'll be helpful in terms of understanding what other people are saying to you as well. So again, if this is something that is helpful to you, please let me know by hitting the like button or subscribe. Or if it's not helpful to you, I mean, use the thumbs down button, that's okay too. But leave a comment, let me know what would work better. So I appreciate it. Thanks everyone.